Now at 6:30, a final farewell.
He wanted a ceremony of a pastor, not as a king.
Hundreds of thousands of people from across the world say goodbye to Pope Francis. The final preparations at the Vatican for the Pope's funeral tomorrow. Plus,
prescription medications, it can be very difficult to predict how dangerous they are.
Local agencies across the country gear up for the National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. What and where to donate and the benefits that could protect you and your family. And in sports, Ohio's spring sports keep on rolling. Newswatch starts right now.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Reese Thompson.
And I'm Morgan Anderson. Tonight's show will be a little different.
That's right. You will see lots of familiar faces tonight as we say goodbye to the class of 2025, sadly.
So to kick us off, we want to hand it over to lead forecaster Emily Dietz, who's in the WOUB Weather Center. Emily, we saw on and off showers throughout the day. Can we expect the same for tonight?
Morgan, you're absolutely right. We saw a lot of this rainfall throughout the day today, and unfortunately, we are expecting it to carry on into tonight. Now, right now, we are in a little bit of a break right now. We have mostly cloudy skies, and our temperatures are sitting in the upper 60s. And unfortunately, with all of this rainfall and a lot of this warm air, our humidity is also rising. So it's very, very muggy outside, which is very typical of these late April days. Now, a lot of this mess that you're seeing right now is happening over top of a lot of the state of Ohio. So we're going to continue to see this rainfall into the evening times, and that should be wrapped up by around 6 a.m. in the morning. And from there, we'll continue to see cloudy skies carry onward as this pressure system continues to move away from us. Now, tonight, again, we are looking at 100% chance of showers, but we are going to be seeing an overnight low of about 57 degrees, so temperatures won't be dropping too dramatically. But as we go into tomorrow, we're going to be seeing the advancement of a cold front. So we'll be seeing mostly cloudy skies, so our rainfall will be ending again by mid-morning, and we'll be seeing a high of about 66 degrees. Be sure to stay tuned for my full forecast to dive into what else we can see this weekend.
Thanks, Emily. You're taking a live look at the Vatican, where the doors to St. Peter's Basilica closed just hours ago as final preparations begin for Pope Francis's funeral tomorrow.
Today marked the third and final day the 88-year-old pontiff lied in state after he died on Monday. Thousands of mourners, tourists, and world dignitaries are expected to fill the square outside the church tomorrow.
And as Laura Aguirre reports, the Pope's will describes final wishes that reflect who he was in life, accessible and inclusive.
It was the final viewing day for mourners saying goodbye to Pope Francis, his body lying in state before the altar of St. Peter's Basilica. As they filed slowly past, Vatican officials urged the crowd to put their phones away and stop taking selfies. This after a number of people were seen holding their phones up while at the casket. For most visitors, however, the moment was kept peaceful and respectful.
It's a beautiful church, and there's a priest inside that gives you a blessing, and you know, it's just such reverency, and it's very moving.
The doors to St. Peter's have now been closed to the public, and cardinals have conducted the formal rite of closing his coffin. In his will released by the Vatican, Pope Francis asked that his tomb be, quote, simple, buried in the earth, not kept upon a traditional pedestal. It'll be located a few miles outside Vatican City at Santa Maria Maggiore Basilica.
He feels at home here. He stopped here before and after every trip that he took overseas. So I think this is close to his heart.
His single wooden casket differs from those of many previous popes who had 3 coffins made of cypress, lead, and oak or elm.
He said he wanted a ceremony of a pastor, not as a king.
His will describes having a plain marker without decoration, inscribed with only a name, Franciscus, a humble resting place for a pope whose legacy will endure generations.
Reaching out to people on the peripheries, inviting people, meeting them where they are, and trying to walk with them on their journey of faith.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Tomorrow's funeral is set to begin at 10 a.m. in Rome, which is 3 a.m. here back home. And although Pope Francis simplified the papal funeral rites, the ceremony will still be full of pomp and pageantry.
Ivan Rodriguez joins us from Rome with the latest as the world prepares to bid Pope Francis farewell.
At least 150,000 people paid their respects to Pope Francis inside of St. Peter's Basilica. Throughout the day, we saw large crowds even snaking around the Vatican wall. Later today, we know that Pope Francis's coffin will be closed in preparation for his funeral on Saturday. 4 days after his death, Pope Francis is lying in state inside of St. Peter's Basilica one last day. Francis's coffin is near the tomb of St. Peter, the first pope. People we spoke with say they'll remember Francis for his outspoken advocacy for the poor and insistence on a more welcoming Catholic Church.
He is a person of people.
Now, final preparations are underway across Vatican City for Francis's funeral Saturday morning. Tens of thousands of people are expected to come into St. Peter's Square to witness the funeral service. Security will also be tight because at least 10 reigning monarchs and 50 heads of state of government will be attending, including President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, and French President Emmanuel Macron.
Once in a life, you have to see the Pope. I'm sorry that I didn't have the chance to see him before when he was alive.
People are not only flocking to the Vatican to pay their respects, but also to Basilica di Santa Maria Maggiore, where Pope Francis chose to be laid to rest.
It's a beautiful church, and there's a priest inside that gives you a blessing. Just such reverency, and it's very moving.
About 50,000 people came to Benedict's funeral in 2023, while around 300,000 attended John Paul's in 2005. Former President Joe Biden and former First Lady Jill Biden will also be attending the funeral service tomorrow morning. We also know that the procession after the service will pass through some of Rome's historical landmarks, including the Roman Forum and the Colosseum. In Rome, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
International students whose visas were revoked by the Trump administration are breathing a sigh of relief tonight after the Justice Department announced it will be restoring their immigration status. The Justice Department says they are reversing the decision as it works towards a new termination policy under the Student and Exchange Visitor Information System. Around 1,700 students' visas were revoked, 62 of them students at colleges across Ohio. The visas were originally revoked by the federal government for alleged affiliation with groups working against America's foreign policy interests.
Measles continues to spread in communities here in Ohio and across the country.
This as new data warns the virus, which was previously declared eliminated, could become endemic in the U.S. if vaccination rates don't improve. Researchers project the U.S. could see almost 900,000 measles cases in the next 25 years if vaccination rates stay the same. They forecast about 11 million if vaccinations decline 10% and more than 51 million if they drop by half. Vaccination rates are down in the U.S. since the COVID-19 pandemic. A group of public health experts is trying to raise awareness. It comes as a response to mixed messages from health officials.
People get measles because they don't vaccinate. They get measles because the vaccine wanes.
There have been at least 30 measles cases in Ohio and more than 800 cases nationwide. The CDC considers the modern medicine lifelong protection against measles and recommends children get the vaccine, their first dose, when they're 12 to 15 months old. It says that they should get the second dose between ages 4 and 6. That gives an estimated 97% immunity from the disease. And tomorrow is National Drug Take-Back Day, and officials say cleaning out the medicine cabinet can remove the threat of potential harm.
Newswatch reporter Tim Hanna is live in studio with more on which medications are most dangerous to keep unused in your home.
Alex and Allison, drug overdoses killed more than 105,000 Americans in 2023, according to the latest CDC data. But there's a way to make sure that those unused pills don't make it into the wrong hands.
Prescription medications, it can be very difficult to predict how dangerous they are if people take them when they're not prescribed specifically for them.
Dr. David Stream with the Alcohol and Drug Recovery Center at Cleveland Clinic says many times people who have opiate use disorder don't get the pills from the street, but from the medicine cabinet of family and friends. He also says it's important to properly dispose of unused or expired medication to keep pets and young children safe.
Some really tragic things can happen.
Stream says some of the most concerning medications to properly discard are those with an overdose or toxicity risk. That includes pain medications, sedating drugs like sleeping and anti-seizure medicines, but also blood pressure medication.
People can take those who don't really need them. Blood pressure, heart rate drop dramatically, and people can become very critically ill very quickly.
Thank you.
An easy way to properly dispose of unused medicine is by taking part in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day on Saturday.
Look through your old medications and get rid of the stuff that you don't need anymore.
The U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency is hosting the event nationwide. To find a take-back center closest to you, go to dea.gov/takebackday. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Tim Hanna, live in studio.
Yeah, Tim, you mentioned this is a nationwide event. Are there any places here around Southeast Ohio that people can go to dispose of their unwanted medication?
Yeah, guys, county sheriff offices across the region are setting up drop-off locations. The Athens County Sheriff's Office will be at the Walmart along State Street here in Athens from 10 a.m. until noon. Also at 10 a.m. tomorrow, Hocking County residents can drop off their old medicine at the county fairgrounds until 1 p.m. The Perry County Sheriff's Office are hosting a drop-off location at their office from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. And in Meigs, Jackson, and Gallia County, sheriffs are holding the event tomorrow between 10 a.m. and noon.
Coming up, the auto industry is feeling the impacts of tariffs put in place by the Trump administration. See how this is affecting buyers looking for a new ride.
We're looking at cloudy skies and a little precipitation right now, but how is that going to play out into our weekend? Be sure to stay tuned to Newswatch to find out.
Uncall the midwife.
Mrs. Baldwin, have you hurt yourself?
Oh, I tripped up.
Mrs. Buckle. Cyril! Oh, we've missed you. You seem depleted in some way. Something is awry.
Is there something going on with you and Cyril Robinson?
Hello?
Dad, please don't hang up.
Sunday at 8 on WOUB. On Masterpiece.
King believed you meant to place Mary on the throne.
How could I possibly overthrow the king?
Perhaps with the help of the emperor?
I know how Henry's mind works.
He never forgave me, and I've long wondered to what extremity his sorrow will lead him.
Who will your majesty trust if you cannot trust him?
Wolf Hall, The Mirror and the Light, the series finale on Masterpiece. Sunday at 9 on WOUB.
Hi, I'm Randall Park, and I'm a proud supporter of public media. Public media is one of the few things we can all count on. It's free and always there when we need it, providing families with trusted educational resources, delivering life-saving information, or keeping us connected to our communities. Local public television and radio stations are nonprofit organizations dedicated to strengthening the places we call home, but they can't do it alone. Learn more at protectmypublicmedia.org.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
Good evening and happy Friday. This is the last Friday of the month, and you know what they say, April showers bring May flowers. Right now we're in a little bit of that rain gap where we have mostly cloudy skies, and it's still a bit warm outside. It's about 68 degrees out, but with all that rain, we are seeing our humidity really start to pick up. Now that warm air is going to be around for the night tonight, but we're going to see a little bit of a cooling patch since we have this high pressure system that's going to be pulling this cool air down from the north and pushing it over into our area. But as of right now, we do have a low pressure system with a cold front attached, and that's what's really going to be impacting our weather this weekend. So we have this warm air that's coming up from the Gulf with a lot of this moisture in it, and as this cold front pushes up against it, it causes a lot of this precipitation to really form up all throughout the east coast of the U.S. Now tonight we're going to continue to see these rain showers happen, and we're going to see an overnight low of about 57 degrees. So overall not too bad tonight, but that's because we're not seeing that cold front just quite yet. As this rain continues on overnight tonight, we're going to see it start to let up around the 4 a.m. time, where we'll see cloudy skies still in the area, but that rain's really going to get let up by that mid-morning. So we're really just looking at a lot of this precipitation happening overnight tonight. Now tomorrow we're going to start to see the advancement of that cold front really take shape, especially when it comes to our temperatures. We're going to see a high of about 66 degrees, which is really quite different from what we've been seeing earlier this week. We were up in the 80s, and an overnight low, which is pretty low from what we've again also been seeing, about 39 degrees. And those cloudy skies are going to be hanging around all throughout the day on Saturday. But as we move into Sunday, we see this high pressure system that was sitting over the central Great Plains area move in over the Great Lakes. Now, fortunately for us, it's not going to be pulling quite as much cold air into the area, and it's actually going to be some benefit to us because it's going to be pushing the clouds that we're seeing on Saturday away and allowing for a lot of that daytime heating to come in and really warm things up. But something we do want to be paying attention to is happening over along the central U.S. region, and that's going to be this big low pressure system with this warm front really starting to take shape over here near Texas, the northern part of Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, because this warm front is going to be pushing through, so we're going to be seeing an increase in our temperatures, but we're also going to be seeing an increase in our precipitation as well, and this is just going to be coming through later in the week. So Monday and Tuesday are looking really quite nice, actually. We're going to be seeing 77 degrees for our high on Monday and then about 84 for our high on Tuesday. And as we move into Wednesday and Thursday, that's when that low pressure system is really going to start sitting into the area, and we're going to be seeing that rainfall really start to take shape and some possible thunderstorms as well. At the moment, we're not looking at any severe weather, but it is still a little too early to tell as that system really starts to take shape. So we're going to keep you updated as the week continues on to really let you know, are we going to expect any severe weather or if we're just going to be seeing some rain showers, especially since we're going into the month of May. So I really love the rainfall and I'm really loving the warm weather. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but
it just looks like all of next week is a wash.
I mean, love-hate. You gotta love some thunderstorms here and there.
Yes, because I mean the rain last night made it feel a little bit nicer, but
Yeah,
it
for
made
sure.
it really muggy and like kind of gross.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how this next band of rain is going to make it feel. But
oh, it's going to make it just probably about the same. Going to be pretty muggy. I mean, you've got warm air and you've got moisture in the air.
You're not
so
telling me
just-
things I want to hear.
Sorry, Jack. Sorry, Jack. Hate to break it to you, but it's going to be hot and muggy next week.
Well, thanks, Emily.
Thanks, Emily.
Turning now to the economy, Americans are still dreading a recession and rising inflation.
That's even after President Trump paused his massive tariff hike on dozens of countries. The University of Michigan's latest survey found consumer sentiment plunged 8% in April. This is the fourth lowest level on record. The last time sentiment was this low was in 1952. Researchers say Trump's unpredictable trade war has weighed on Americans' attitudes toward the economy over the past few months. While these numbers aren't good, it is a slightly smaller decline than a preliminary reading from earlier this month, which didn't capture people's reaction to Trump's 90-day tariff delay.
The auto industry is one of the groups feeling the impacts of tariffs put in place by the Trump administration. And with more expected soon, the auto industry trade groups are warning Trump these tariffs on foreign auto parts will lead to higher prices for consumers. Lee Waldman has more on how this will impact the everyday person buying a car.
For many attendees of the New York International Auto Show, the tariffs President Trump put on the auto industry are causing whiplash.
These tariffs don't look like they're doing good. They're on one day, they're off the next day. There's a pause for 90 days.
Basically, I'm just going day by day, just trying to figure out what's going on.
Earlier this month, Trump implemented a 25% tariff on all imported cars. By May 3rd, an additional 25% tariff on foreign auto parts themselves.
Everything's going up and up and up.
Mark Scheinberg, president of the New York International Auto Show, says just over 70% of the auto show attendees are shopping for their next ride. These tariffs could make that more expensive.
We're hearing numbers that it could increase prices of cars from $3,000 to $15,000. That changes the dynamics for people in their decision.
This week, 6 auto industry trade groups sent a letter to members of the Trump administration warning against these tariffs, saying they will scramble the global automotive supply chain. And Ford has warned its dealers that tariffs will likely raise prices starting as early as June.
To think that you can flip a switch and that everything can move to the United States is just impossible to think about. It doesn't happen immediately.
In New York, I'm Lee Waldman.
There are also worries Trump's tariffs could worsen credit card debt in the U.S., which is already at an all-time high. A new survey by Bankrate shows about 48% of Americans report having credit card debt. Many experts worry that higher prices from President Trump's tariffs could worsen debt for Americans. The White House hopes the tariffs will encourage companies to bring jobs back to the U.S., but economists say that will take time, something some people can't.
People are feeling squeezed between higher housing costs and medical care and food and childcare and all these things, and there's just not as much wiggle room.
If you do have a lot of credit card debt, experts say it's best to pay off as much as you can so you don't pay more in interest and penalties. You could also look into transferring your debt to a 0% interest credit card.
Next in sports, Ohio baseball hosts a weekend series against the rival Miami Redhawks, and softball is on the road against the Central Michigan Chippewas in a battle of the top teams in the MAC.
And the NFL draft kicked off last night. See who the 2 teams in Ohio selected in the first round. All of that and more when Newswatch returns after the break.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow at the Maryland Zoo. Whether it's a cherished heirloom.
This is a wristwatch that was given to my grandfather, George S. Patton Jr.
Or a bargain find.
I paid a total of $7 for the 3.
For the 3, including 0 for the one closest to you. That's utterly amazing.
I thought for $25, what's there to lose?
Antiques Roadshow has found wow-worthy treasures at the Maryland Zoo in Baltimore.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
Understanding the past gives a sense of the future. This is the first time that anyone has seen this in 2,000 years.
This is amazing.
Well, I'm excited now.
Pompeii is a battle against time.
You think I'm joking, but look at this. It did really happen.
Don't let anybody tell you who you are.
History teaches us to honor the past.
When you look back, you're like, wow, that was pretty special.
This is something that's actually altering the course of history.
You're charged with keeping these stories alive.
Next time on the Vietnam War, 1968, America reels from unrest and assassinations.
The people we'd look up to were being taken away from us.
As the war enters a deadly new chapter.
Something's going to happen, but we don't know exactly what.
It seemed like here's every NVA in the world trying to kill me.
The Tet Offensive explodes across the country when the Vietnam War continues.
Thursday at 9 on WOUB.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to sports. I'm Shane Scalfaro.
And I'm Darius Sethna. It's a big weekend for Ohio Bobcats baseball as it hosts arch rival Miami at Bob Wren Stadium this weekend for a 3-game series. The game today, however, has been postponed. It's now going to be part of a doubleheader tomorrow. The Bobcats still sit in last place in the MAC standings with a 4-14 conference record, and they've lost 7 straight games with their most recent defeat this past Tuesday against Northern Kentucky. And it's not going to be easy for Ohio to end its winless streak as Miami head into this weekend at 3rd place in the MAC, winners of their last 2 contests. The Redhawks are also tied for 2nd place in the conference in fielding percentage at .975. So the series continues this weekend on Saturday at 4 with the final game on Sunday at 1.
Yeah, meanwhile, Ohio's softball team continues conference play this week on the road against Central Michigan. Head coach Jenna Hall and company taking on Central Michigan in a 3-game weekend series starting tomorrow afternoon. The Bobcats also hope to bounce back this weekend after seeing its 5-game winning streak end at the hands of Ohio State this past Tuesday. However, things are still on the up for the green and white. The Bobcats hold a 31-13 overall record, good for 1st place in the MAC standings. And that's not all. They are on the top of the league in. Ohio leads the MAC in overall pitching with a team ERA of 3.04. And this weekend is arguably one of the most important for the Bobcats' 2025 season, and this is the reason why. When you take a look at the current MAC standings, I mentioned that Bobcats sit at the top. However, this Central Michigan team is right on their heels. They're just 1 game out of 1st place and may very well overtake Ohio at the end of the weekend. The series begins tomorrow with a doubleheader starting at 1, with the final game taking place on Sunday at 3. And the NFL draft is in full swing after kicking off last night.
And man, Shane, what a night. And starting in Cincinnati, the Bengals selected Texas A&M edge rusher Shamar Stewart 17th overall. At 6'5", 267 pounds, wow, the edge rusher started for 2 seasons for the Aggies, and his size, his speed, and athleticism are big strengths of his game. This lands him on a defensive line rushing across from star pass rusher Trey Hendrickson for the Bengals. And under new defensive coordinator Al Golden, Stewart looks to be a key piece in a defense that was 25th in total defense in 2024, according to ESPN. But that wasn't the only news of the night. However, as you can see on your screen, the Cleveland Browns were the first team to make a trade during the NFL draft. They made a deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars to move from the number 2 spot down to number 5 while acquiring more draft capital.
And with the 5th pick, the Browns selected Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham, who finished with 46 total tackles last year for the Wolverines. Cleveland also received 2 more picks in this year's draft and an additional first-round pick in next year's draft. This is an important year for the Browns, who are coming off a 3-win season in 2024. The team looks to retool its roster around star edge rusher Myles Garrett after signing him to a 4-year extension last month.
That's all we have for sports, but we'll be right back after the break.
Alaska's remoteness demands both self-reliance and tight community. Home to hundreds of indigenous tribes and frontier seekers, it's among the most diverse U.S. states. From Utqiagvik to Homer, I meet the people who live it every day.
Do not cut, just enjoy.
Join me for the series premiere of Patty Hinich Explores Panamericana.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
Did you know that you can donate property to WOUB Public Media? I'm WOUB Community Engagement and Membership Manager Sherry Russo. Donating property is a great way to support WOUB, and you may even claim a significant tax deduction. Properties in any location, condition, and format are eligible for donation to WOUB. Back taxes, mortgage balances, and deferred maintenance do not prohibit your ability to donate. Our program covers all loans, liens, commissions, and closing costs, so long as there is equity in the property. If you have a land, residential, or commercial real estate asset that's unused or costing you money, consider giving back to the station you love by donating it to WOUB.
And the process is easy. Go to WOUB.org and click the Support tab to learn about property donations, along with many other ways to support WOUB.
There are secrets buried in time. Until now. Walk in the footsteps of long-lost giants as their hidden world comes to life.
Now to our last story tonight, a final farewell to the class of 2025. Many of us began college in a very different world, starting a new chapter in our lives in the middle of a global pandemic, adjusting to a new town and new friends, either outside or 6 feet apart. And while post-pandemic life continued, we saw the beauty of Southeast Ohio and the people of this region. For many of us, reporting on the stories that matter to you has been the opportunity of a lifetime. And as we all go our separate ways, all we can say is thank you. Thank you to the classes that came before us for setting the standard. And thank you to all the professionals who have helped us grow and learn every day and out. And most importantly, thank you, the viewers, for letting us into your homes each night. We wouldn't have wanted this experience any other way. The time has come. Look at us all here. I swear we blinked and now we're here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's not make it too serious.
Listen, it's been fun, y'all, for real.
I love you guys. Love you guys. Always. Yeah. There's no place like WOUB. There's no place
Absolutely
like
not.
home. Well, Emily?
Well, final weather tonight, you guys. Let's take a look at what's coming up this week. We do have graduation next weekend, and unfortunately, a lot of us standing around the desk will be graduating. And next week is looking rainy Tuesday through Friday, but by Friday, the rain should be letting up. So beautiful day for graduation, great day to take some pictures outside, and a beautiful day to say farewell to all of our friends.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. For all of us seniors here at Newswatch, thank you for watching. And stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. Newswatch is taking a bit of a break, but have no fear, it's returning May 17th.
That is utterly remarkable.
Whales coming up!
Hold on.
This is